Let's talk to Ethan from Tennessee. Ethan, you are live on Talk Heathen. It sounds like you want to talk about a right-wing society is better than a left-leaning atheist one. I'm curious what you mean by this.
Yeah, that's correct. Just basically what I said, just a conservative Christian-based society, because that's what our country was founded on, would just be in better moral standing than it is now, or than it would be if it went further towards the left.
So what values are specifically conservative and or Christian that are better than what the left has?
Sure, yeah. First of all, they promote the nuclear family, which is like been a failing industry, which it is an industry. It's been a failing industry ever since the late 60s, early 70s, pretty much the Vietnam War era.
So what determines...
There's been a steady decline in that.
What determines success of a family? What specific criteria would you use to say this family is better than this other family? I want to solidify some definitions before really engaging this, because I think we might be on different pages here because better is kind of a nebulous word, right? So I want to make sure that when we say better, what do we mean by better?
What's the nebulous word?
Nebulous just means there's no concrete definition. Like if I were to say, I've actually had this debate with people that corn tortillas are better than flour tortillas. Like it's a matter of opinion what better means.
That's objectively true. That is objectively true.
Yeah. So the point is when we use a phrase like better, we need to know what specifically we mean. Like, because if you mean better for street tacos, corn tortillas, many people would say corn is better for street tacos due to the texture and the flavor profile. Whereas flour tortillas might be better for burritos due to the size and less likely to crumble. So I can more clearly define my terms, and then maybe we can get somewhere in the conversation. So when you say a nuclear family is better, in what ways specifically make it better, and what makes it successful as a family?
Okay, so first of all, I had to disagree with your tortilla analogy, because where better in that scenario can relate to an opinion, a nuclear family, which nuclear family has its own definition. A nuclear family,
okay, but listen,
in my example, better fits through statistics.
But what do you mean by better? What do you mean?
What's the objective? Like, what makes it better?
It's backed up by statistics, and what makes it better?
What specifically is backed up by statistics?
The nuclear family, like I said, has been in decline, and since it's been in decline, like just moral values been in decline.
Hold on, because we're asking something specific here. Like, what is the thing that a nuclear family does better than the opposite? What is the outcome? What's the better outcome of these two different families?
Sure. The better outcome is a better outcome for both a son or a daughter. With a mother and a father there, they can both learn their roles in life. Not to say that won't be different, but they can learn their natural roles in life through a nuclear family.
Hold on. So your definition of better is that you need a mother and a father, both present, so that the kids can learn gender roles. Are you saying that gender roles determine the betterness of a family structure?
No, but learning the gender roles do.
Why do we need to learn gender roles? Do you think that society needs to be based on gender roles?
It's been around for thousands of years. It's been around for thousands of years before us, and
so
fire's been around for longer than that. I don't want my house to be on fire though. It's been around for a while, but doesn't mean it improves the
Again,
situation.
this is such a bad analogy. It's not. It's a bad analogy
Ethan,
compared to human relations. Fire and human
do you
relations is
think
about as equal as an
Racism has
analogy
been
as
around.
tortillas to what we're
Racism
talking
has
about.
been around for a while. Sexism has been around for a while. The patriarchy has been around for a while. All these things have existed. That doesn't make them good. Is that a better analogy?
Of course, yeah, it is way better. But
okay, I was only saying fire because it
evil
seems
and
absurd.
sin has existed for a long time.
So.
Sin has existed for a long time, like thieves, rapes, murders. That's all existed for a long time. I'm not saying that inherently makes it good.
Right. Okay. So go back to your argument then.
Existed for a long time, therefore it works. It works.
Ethan, no,
it's
hold on.
Time,
Ethan, be quiet. So you're contradicting yourself here. So I asked you, what made the nuclear family better than any alternatives? And you had said that kids learn their gender roles. And so then I asked, why do we need to learn gender roles? Or why does society need to be based on gender roles? And you said, because it's been around for a long time. And now you've dialed back and said, well, just because it's been around for a long time doesn't mean that it's correct. So I think you just contradicted yourself. And so that can't be the reason
you didn't understand
why
my point in full because you interrupted me.
No, do you know why I'm interrupting your point? Because Ethan, I keep interrupting because you're not processing the arguments as you say them. I don't know if you know how kind of silly the argument sounds right away, and even already from the get-go, failing to define certain terms and just assuming that something is better because it's been around for a long time, or assuming that we know what criteria makes something better. We're trying to nail down exactly what the argument is. And this is a tactic I don't know if you're aware of, but you've been kind of vague. And I wonder if you're doing that to try to not have to back up your point.
No, I'm backing up my point. You're just not hearing me. And you're not choosing to. You're asking me to define terms
back it up. Why do we need gender roles?
You're asking me to define terms that already exist. Okay. So about the gender roles thing. I said that's existed for a long time. I also said evil has existed for a long time. That doesn't make evil good just because it's existed for a long time. I also said
we're on the same page.
That contradicts what you're saying.
Okay, you didn't let me finish again. Okay, so the nuclear family and gender roles also have existed for a long time. I also said they're an institution. This institution has existed for a long time and been in place for a long time. Ever since that this wokeness has came out and just kind of destroyed the nuclear family, like I said, in the Vietnam era starting, we can see a steady moral decline. And it's obvious.
Hold on. Do you not see that, Ethan? Do you not see the contradiction that you made? Because you just said so. Now you've made a slight distinction that if it's something that's been around for a long time and is an institution, that makes it okay. But the institutions of Islam have been around for a long time. Institutions of Hinduism have been around for a long time.
Institution of religion. That's a religion, man.
What makes your religion not an institution?
Because the nuclear family is not a religion. It's an institution. The Nation of Islam is a religion.
So you still need to... So you're... Ethan, I'm very confused about your argument because you're saying that the nuclear family is better because this institution has been around for a long time and because...
it's better.
No,
You're
listen.
just picking apart the nuclear family. I'm saying the right society as a whole is
right. Okay, I'm going to mute you because you cannot listen. So the reason why we're picking this apart is because you came in with the claim that the nuclear family was better for some vague reason. So yeah, we're going to pick this apart because if the nuclear family is better, then we should have evidence to back that up. And the problem is your argument is going in some weird circles to where you're only accepting what organization or institution you support. And you're not looking at where you've contradicted your own argument. So if gender roles are what make this nuclear family better, And that is an institution that's been around for a long time. But these other things that you don't like are not institutions. You're just cherry picking what you want to be true. So I want to let Blatant Atheist address this first before I unmute you, because I'm not convinced that you're actually listening to our points.
I don't understand where he's coming from with the institution thing at all. Like, I want to know what his definition of an institution is, because from my understanding, racism is an institution. Like, the way that the government was set up all the way up through the civil rights movement, all that stuff, that was an institution. Now we're getting into a nuclear family situation, and it seems like your logic is girls learn to be in the kitchen, boys learn to be the head of the family, like this. That's the nuclear setup. What makes that better than any other situation is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I'm going to unmute you now, and you can answer the questions, please. You're unmuted.
First of all, bad analogy. Okay. First of all, bad analogy.
Hold on. Stop right there.
Okay, we're gonna mute you again. So you don't just get to come in and say bad analogy whenever you disagree. You have to point out why you disagree, or if it actually is a bad analogy, you need to point out logically why. You can't just say bad analogy every time. And I think every analogy we've used have demonstrated our points. I'm unmuting you again, so please answer the question.
You're talking about systemic racism versus a nuclear family. Two separate things.
We're not comparing them. No, listen,
totally argumentable point.
Ethan, I'm going to drop you if you do not listen to us, okay? The question was with regard to the definition of institution. What do you define as an institution? That is the question. And you can either answer this question or I'm going to hang up, all right? All right, you are unmuted.
You're making me define things that already have a definition. So look it up yourself and drop it.
So then you should be able to present your definition. Okay, this is, you know what? This is absolutely a waste of our time because Webster's.
No, okay. No, here's the thing.
All right.
Here's the thing. If you're making let them. If you're making the argument, I want to make sure that you know how these words are used. It's not what the definition in the book says. How are you using it? Because you're the one that's making the argument.
Okay, this is your last chance.
What do you define as an institution? Simple question. What do you?
Hey, you might as well go ahead and drop me and prove my point. Because you guys are not understanding what I'm putting down.
All right, we're dropping. That was an absolute waste of time. And if I were to give the last piece of advice to Ethan, it's define your terms before coming here. Know that if I think his intention was to skip around definitions so that we can't peg him down and hold him accountable to his argument. And the thing is, like, if your argument is true, you should be willing to take accountability for the argument that you're saying. Like I want to know if I'm wrong or not. And if I say something and I define for you exactly what terms I'm using, exactly what context I mean this to be in, and someone says, actually, no, that is incorrect based on this argument you made, I'd rather know that and be corrected than give a non-definition to just avoid criticism.
Bad analogy, Ben. Come on now.
Bad analogy.